So you're new to Appendix Carry. What I'm not going to be covering in this video are the general pros and cons of Appendix Carry. Whether or not Appendix Carry is right for you. I'm not going to go into much about practicing, training, mindset, or concealed carry in general. This is more so a video just a little bit about gear and how to get yourself set up to Appendix Carry comfortably and effectively. So the first thing people usually have a hard time getting over with when deciding to Appendix Carry is pointing a loaded gun at things they don't want to destroy. Breaking one of the cardinal rules of firearm safety, it should be a little unnerving at first, and it was for me. What you have to kind of understand and eventually just get comfortable with is your gun, it won't go off unless the trigger is pulled. So when it's in a good holster that completely cover the trigger guard from both sides and won't collapse on the trigger guard, the trigger can't be pulled. That means when it's in your pants, there's nothing that's going to be pulling the trigger, therefore the gun can't go off. So it's not just going to magically go off in your pants and shoot you where you don't want to get shot. So the only times you are actually in any danger of the trigger getting pulled and the gun going off while appendix carrying is when you're reholstering the gun and when you're unholstering the gun. So the best ways to try and get around that are when you unholster the gun, when you pull the gun out, you get a grip like this, and then you pull the gun out. So when you pull the gun out, your finger is off the trigger, and it stays off the trigger until you get on the target, and then you pull the trigger. When reholstering the gun, same thing. Your finger's off the trigger, and it goes down into the holster. What you'll need to worry about is any of your clothes or belt kind of thing, or anything that's wedged down in this holster, that when you're reholstering, your trigger could catch on and it could cause it to go off. That's really the only time that you have to be worried. So for a while, when I first started appendix carrying, I carried an XDS, and the reason I carried an XDS was because when I reholstered, I could put my thumb on the back of the slide here, and then that made my grip safety not depressed. When the grip safety is not depressed on an XDS, the trigger can't be pulled. So it's just kind of an added measure of security. So that's something that nobody talks about the XDS that kind of makes it a really good appendix carry gun. I know a lot of people hate grip safeties, but in that regard, they kind of they give me a little extra assurance. Another possible route is with something like a shield that has an actual safety. So when the safety's on, trigger can't be pulled. Safety, reholster, and you're pretty safe. I don't really like guns with external safeties, and a lot of people don't either. So I never actually carried a shield, but another option if you're kind of a little leery about the trigger getting squeezed. And that brings us into choosing a holster. I'm not really going to go over any brands or even any particular types right now. I may in a future video. But for now, I'm just going to be talking about Kydex. I think is probably the safest bet. There's some leather holsters out here that have the Kydex front and the leather rear, and those are okay because it's not going to really collapse on itself. I don't like them as much, but when I first started, I kind of started on these holsters because they're a little more comfortable. I thought they were a little more comfortable at the time, but in hindsight, they're not really any more comfortable. Kydex, for a holster, the main things to look at is a holster that completely covers your trigger guard. That means no access to the trigger. It can't get accidentally pulled while it's in your pants. It can't get accidentally pulled ever, really. So any good holster will completely cover your trigger guard and provide no access to the trigger. There's a bunch of them out there. This is an Aiming Cog. This is one I made myself. Most of the holsters I use are just holsters I make myself. When carrying an extra mag, a lot of appendix carry holsters have something like this, a little mag caddy, and those are great for me. You put them in there and they take up basically no extra size. You don't print anymore. It's right there, easy to grab, and the main advantage of this is I'm never too lazy to grab an extra mag. I'm never like, oh, well, I gotta go run out to the store real quick and I'll just have a gun, and I won't grab my extra separate mag holster to put on because I'm too lazy, or I forgot, or I don't have enough time. So now I'll talk about positions a little bit. So even though it's appendix carry, you can kind of, depending on the center line of your body, you can carry right in the center where the muzzle's right down at 12 o'clock, or you can carry a little off to the side at 1 o'clock, or, you know, anywhere in between. So your body has this V basically where it's going to be comfortable, and you're not going to want to go too over on the right, otherwise you won't be able to bend your leg at all. It'll just hit right into the muzzle. In the middle is usually most comfortable for me, but a lot of people hold it a little off to the side at like 1 o'clock. Talk about holster clips a little bit. I typically like clips because they're secure, they're easy, they're fast to get off and on, and I find myself appendix carrying. I'll take my gun off and put it on the desk and put it back on when I go out, things like that, quite a bit. So I'm going off and on with holsters quite a bit. So any kind of a clip is really pretty nice. They have the soft loops, which are also a great option. I'm not a personal fan of them, but I have nothing against them either. I prefer clips. I want to talk a little bit about guns. What makes a good appendix carry gun? There's basically 3 dimensions that you're concerned about when choosing a gun to appendix carry. Is length, how tall the grip is, and how wide the gun is. So these factors affect concealability and comfort in different ways. How long the barrel is doesn't affect concealability at all. You could have a 10-inch barrel down your pants, and it's still plenty concealable. However, it's not comfortable. So the longer the barrel, the more uncomfortable it's going to be when carrying. Grip length, it has nothing to do with comfort at all. It simply affects concealability, or how much your gun's going to print. I don't care that much about printing, really. I could go into that later, but as far as grip length, it doesn't really bother me, the concealability factor. It's just as comfortable, so I wouldn't mind if I had a full-length grip on here. I could put a 19 mag or a 17 mag in this 26, and that would be fine. But it does make it less concealable. So a shorter grip is more concealable, doesn't affect comfort. As far as the width of the gun, you compare something like a Glock 26, this fat, compact gun, to a shield. And even though the differences in thickness are quite minimal, a shield or an XDS or any other of these single stack 9mm is going to conceal quite a bit more and be quite a bit more comfortable than one of these fatter guns. So a thinner gun, you obviously lose capacity, which I hate, which is why I don't carry single stacks anymore. But you gain comfort and you gain quite a bit of concealability. Next thing I'll talk about a little bit is clothing type. So this is kind of not just particular to appendix carry, but kind of any AIWB carry in general. Darker shirts, black shirts, dark grays, any kind of whatever darker color is going to help you conceal your gun better. The creases and the shadows and the printing, they're not going to show as much as they will on a lighter shirt. So, pants, I wear tactical pants a lot, but my particular job and lifestyle lends itself to wearing that. So some people can't. Some people gotta wear slacks or business casual or whatever, and you can't be wearing those kinds of things. But tactical pants are great because most of them have kind of a stretchy waist, so if you're wearing a gun or if you're not wearing a gun, it kind of flexes and aids comfort levels. And especially when you're concealed carrying IWB, you're going to be bending and shifting and moving, and your pants kind of stretch and give a little bit to accommodate your different body positions. And then you're going to want a solid belt, or at least a belt of some sort, a thick leather belt, a nice nylon belt, one of these Cobra belts. I'll probably talk in a later video about belts in general, but just make sure you have a belt because you need something for your soft loops or your clips or your J hooks to hook onto. That's kind of the core of your system. Without a belt, you can't really conceal with any of the holsters that I'd recommend. There are some that are just kind of like grippy and sticky and don't require a belt. There's belly bands, things like that don't require a belt. So if you have to wear some pants, basketball shorts or sweatpants or whatever that don't have a belt, then there are other options, but I like to stick to a solid pair of pants with a solid belt holding them up. So really one of the main disadvantages for appendix carry for me personally is it's not as comfortable to bend over to pick stuff up. So I find myself when appendix carrying that when I need to pick something off the ground, I really bend at the knees more than I do at the waist or at the back, which I guess is probably good for you anyway. But what kind of helps this is hiking your pants up when you do it. So the main thing is when you're going to be sitting in a chair, you're going to be getting into your car, your muzzle's going to kind of dig into your body a little bit, and the back of your gun thing are going to dig into your stomach. So what helps this is before you sit down, before you get in your car, just hike your pants up a little bit, so it brings the gun up more to where it's resting, you know, flush with your stomach at whatever angle you're going to be leaning. So that's kind of the key to getting comfortable when sitting in a car or sitting in a chair, is hiking your pants up a little bit, and that's what I do. When I actually get in a car, after I hike my pants up and sit down, I usually like to tuck my shirt behind my gun, so my shirt's then in between my gun and my stomach. That helps a little bit with comfort, but mainly it helps me in case I need to ever draw my gun while I'm sitting in my car. In addition to getting my shirt tucked behind there, I usually put my lap belt behind my gun as well. So I have my belt and my shirt behind my gun, and my gun is up here exposed. Depending on where you live, that may be illegal to drive around with an exposed gun, so I'm not going to go into legality. If it's legal where you are, you might want to do it. If it's not, then obviously don't put your shirt and belt behind your gun. Leave it in front so your gun stays concealed at all times. And, you know, enjoy yourself, be safe, practice dry fire, and I recommend getting some training from some qualified instructors, and feel free to ask me or any of my other viewers of this video some questions in the comments, and we'll try and answer them.